Welcome, welcome. Hello, this is Patty Joe, and we are on day 12. Day 12. Day 12. It's a gloomy day outside. I'm going to work tonight, so let's see, it's noonish here. All right, let's start day 12. And how else should we start? By hearing his third-party intervener. I am representing my client. Goblin, 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 goblin. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Ugh. 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 Let's make it big.
Johnson versus Darrell Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Good morning, Judge. Sue Upper, Leslie Basie, and Zach Wichow appearing for the state.
State your name for the record.
I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in the charging instruments, and I would like to make a reservation of all my rights at this time.
All right, thank you. The record should reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is present in person in custody. He is wearing street clothes, specifically a suit and tie, and he is wearing a mask.
And I do not consent to being called in.
Who cares?
Noted. All right, so Mr. Brooks called a witness yesterday. There was an objection. I sustained it, but he also orally moved to dismiss, and I indicated I would take that up outside the presence of the jury. I didn't do that yesterday, so I just want to put on the record that I'm denying the motion without any further consideration or discussion by the parties. He listed two reasons. One was it had to do when he called the state of Wisconsin as a witness for failing to appear, and then for failing to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. There's no legal basis for those motions in law or in fact, and so that's why I'm denying them on the record today. I'm not asking for any further commentary or statements on the issue.
I object to that.
And I intend to have you call the next witness. I just want to confirm with the state who is here this morning.
I object to that ruling, Your Honor.
Noted for the record.
Present this morning, Your Honor.
I would like a legal finding of fact.
Tonight.
Your Honor, consistent with the court's instruction yesterday afternoon, we have present Douglas Kohler, Detective Steve Guth, and Erica Patterson are here now and available.
All right. All right. I expect you to call those first three before we get to any other person. Not whatever order you want among the three, but those will be the three people called, and then we'll get to the next people according to the scheduling that I put in place yesterday.
I want to state for the record that I intend to appeal that judicial decision made about the motion to dismiss.
Okay.
Noted for the record. All right, let's bring the jury out then.
Actually, we did address subject matter jurisdiction.
Oh my
It still has
gosh.
yet to be proven for the record, and I wanted to address the fact that with this, is it Kohler? Is that how you pronounce the name? Kohler?
We're going to continue with the witnesses. I've addressed subject matter jurisdiction repeatedly. There's a written decision. I stand behind it. You have three witnesses that you subpoenaed. The state made arrangements for them to be here. Whatever order you want to call them in this morning is fine, but those three are here.
That's what I was trying to address right now. I was asking
Okay, go
about
ahead.
the
What do you
name.
want to address?
The Kohler. How do you pronounce the name? Kohler. I'm
I
still
don't know.
having
You'll
trouble.
have to ask the witness.
I'm still having trouble finding the file for that particular witness.
You'll have to ask the
Yeah,
witness.
call the jury in.
So I don't know how I'm supposed to.
Mr. Brooks, you were well advised. These are your witnesses that the state made arrangements. You knew who was going to be called. I put that on the record yesterday. So of those three, whatever order you want, but I'm not moving past those three
I didn't
to
say
jump to others.
I didn't say anything about moving past the three.
I know that. I'm
simply
just setting the tone for today that we're going to keep moving.
Okay, I simply stated I'm not.
Beefy has anxiety. Addressed this section of the trial so eloquently. And I'm going to paraphrase, but basically he said, imagine yourself, as disgusting as it may be, in Daryl's situation, but you're a person in school with something due, and you didn't do it. You didn't do your homework, or you don't have your homework, or whatever, for whatever reason. You have choices. You can either hurry up and try to get it done with whatever available time you have. You can ask for, you can and get as much of it done and turn in what you can. You can plead your case and see if it will be moved. You can just take the loss. You didn't do it. It was your fault, or you don't have it. It was your fault. It was your responsibility. These are your responsibility. Okay. Daryl has introduced another narcissistic way of dealing with the problem, which is to spread it all around and make it everybody else's problem. Much like he's done the witness list and calling the witnesses and being prepared for anything, being prepared, as he says it, for anything, going through any of the boxes of materials that is the case against him, which is significant. He just thinks that everybody should do it for him and that he has the right to sit there like a toddler and complain about it. And he is like going through this as if he is part of this process and part of this group. And that's a narcissistic thing that Daryl is doing. He fancies himself part of a larger piece. If somebody at work who's exhibiting similar things about this, this job that I have now is my retirement job. I'm not going to say where or anything because there's all kinds of social media rules about it, but it's not using my full education or experience or any of that. It's not. But I do work with people who do what I used to do. And I just see so many of these signs in these people where they just want to box themselves into a perfect little, it's just, but they're not part of the crew. They're not part of the group. They're not. They're not. You're not. You're not part of it, Daryl. And he's going to try really hard here to force his way in, but he's not part of the group.
Ready to ask that witness questions if I can't even find the
I
their
understand,
paperwork.
but that's you not having your paperwork's on you, not anybody else.
Ask him the same stupid questions you're asking everybody else. Like, have you met the state of Wisconsin? It was you? Did you see any teeth? Or a license plate? Are you a party? Did you benefit from this financially? Are you going to share it with me? I mean, he's got all kinds of questions that he's prepared.
Else.
So what am I supposed to ask?
What am I supposed to
I
ask?
can't answer that, sir. You know that.
That's a rush to judgment. You can't rush me to judgment when I'm notifying the court that I cannot find the record.
The record.
Well, you
I
did
can't
very
not a
well
record.
I can't
yesterday
find the
without
file
your
for
file,
that.
so
I'm
Not a
saying
record.
I
that
don't think that's the
particular
issue.
witness.
I'll make a record. Yesterday you asked a question, hold on a second. Can you have them step back out? Just they can, yesterday you said you did not have a file for one of the witnesses and you did a
That
fine
was-
job from my perspective. So
I did what?
you did a fine job.
Oh my God.
I just
Yeah,
want to
but
say my
they
assessment,
also
you did a good
provided me
job.
with one sheet for that particular witness at that
Particular.
time. So I
I'm
just went
bringing
off
the
of that
jury
3
in.
paragraphs.
How you're prepared or not is solely on you, sir. You've
it's
had
your
all
problem.
of this information. Now we're at the end of the 3rd week of trial.
This is
These
your
are
witness.
witnesses. I presume that you are prepared in whatever way that is.
How
You're
can
not
I
gonna
be
hold it
prepared
up.
for? I'm not. So the witness is just supposed to get up there and just. I'm just like,
I'm
yeah.
not going to have this commentary. Okay, I'm done. The jury's coming out. Be prepared to call
So
one
that's
of the
that's a
three.
rush to judgment.
That is not a rush to judgment.
It is a rush to
Again, I'm done.
judgment.
The jury's
It's
coming
clearly
in.
a rush to judgment if I'm telling you that I don't have the
No,
file.
in
How
my
am I
opinion,
supposed?
you're attempting to delay. So
No,
let's
I'm not.
keep
I'm not
going.
attempting to delay nothing. You want to come check the boxes yourself?
Not her problem.
You always trying to pull some fast
Fast
maneuvers.
Mr. Brooks,
And Miss Judge, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, the jury's coming in.
Yeah,
Show
and
respect
they
to
they
the
deserve
jury.
to know this too. It's still issues that need to get addressed. We didn't even address everything.
Mr. Brooks, I addressed all of the issues.
No, I
and you
still
know
had
that.
another one that didn't have nothing to do with nothing we just talked about.
All
There
right.
was a whole nother issue that needed to be addressed that I needed to
And we'll
bring on
address
the
it
record to
later.
your attention.
We'll address it later.
It needs to get addressed now before we go any further because it's an important matter. Just like the subject matter jurisdiction is important. That hasn't been proven on the record.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Just
this
like
is
the
not
rush to
the
judgment.
time for evidence to be presented or arguments to be made by the
I
parties.
can't
The
even
jury
present
will
any evidence. You won't let me even put
disregard
any evidence in the record.
all of these statements
is a
made
rush
by
to
Mr.
judgment.
Brooks
That's
at this
unfair.
time. All right.
That's unfair what
The
you're
court
doing.
will address legal matters outside the
Then we
presence.
need to
Everyone
address
can
the
be
legal
seated.
matter that I was trying to get to before
And
you
you
rush
may call your
everything
next
out.
witness, sir.
I'm not calling any witness until I get an answer, Your Honor. You're a public servant. You're
Mr. Brooks,
supposed to be able to answer simple questions.
Mr. Brooks,
if I'm saying I have to bring
call
it to
your
your
next
attention,
witness, please. That's the stage that
I have
we
to
are
bring
at.
it to your attention, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks,
I'm merely seeking
please
to bring
stop.
an issue to your attention.
I'm telling you to please, I'm asking you to please
And
stop.
I'm asking you,
because
can
we
we
have the
address-
jury present.
I'm asking
and
you-
we need to continue with the evidentiary phase of this trial. Call your next
I'm
witness.
asking you to address a legal matter, as you said that those have to be taken up outside of the jury.
I will
There
do
was
that
a
at the
legal
next
matter-
break.
There was a legal matter that needed to be addressed beforehand,
I
so
will
we
do
don't
it.
have to take up time,
I will do
valuable
it at the
time
next break.
afterwards to address something that needs to be addressed now. That way,
Mr.
So clearly, she has lost control of this situation. There's no other way to say it. She's totally lost control of this at this point, and she's going to have to gather it back up. She's definitely. Okay.
court
Brooks,
and you
for the
yourself are
third
on
time,
notice.
I will address it at the next break. Call your next witness, please.
Are you asking me?
I'm directing you to call your next witness.
Your Honor, we're not going to move past
Oh
this.
my God.
Seeing as how you took an oath to protect the Constitution. I have your oath. I have a copy of your oath
Oath.
right here.
I have your oath.
The
I am an
that you
oath.
took, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, I'd like
Oh
to
my
continue
gosh.
with testimony.
Sir.
We have witnesses waiting for you. Please call your next witness.
The oath that you swore to protect the Constitution, which you are now not doing.
Mr. Brooks,
So you're going
call your
against
next
your
witness,
sworn
please.
oath. You're going against your sworn oath.
Mr. Brooks, call your next
As you
witness.
as you notify the jury every time when there's legal matters, we take them outside of their presence.
And we're going
I
to take
didn't-
testimony right now. Call your next
I merely
witness.
seek to put you on notice on the record for something that needs to be brought to your attention
And
and
I
to the
will-
court's attention.
And I will address it at
That's
the
what
next
I'm
break.
merely seeking to do. It's something that shouldn't have to wait because it'll take up valuable time later. At least if I notify you right from the onset,
Irony.
you'll already know what we're looking at, and we can nip it in the bud before everything starts to roll. And
Mr.
then
Brooks,
it gets
I will
overlooked.
address it at the next break. If you want to write something down, that's fine, and give it to my clerk. I have nothing in writing. I know there's witnesses available.
As thug as he tries to be, he certainly does use like the most corniest nip it in the bud, gotta nip it in the bud.
And ready to go.
Ugh.
Call your next witness.
Your Honor, this.
Oh
Your
my
Honor,
gosh.
You have to answer this question. You're
Mr.
making a
Brooks,
judicial determination.
Call
to
your
rush
next
me to
witness,
judgment.
please.
You're rushing me to judgment, Your Honor.
There's no rush to judgment
There is
here,
a rush
sir.
to judgment. If you won't address a legal issue that I informed you that I had some legal issues that needed to be addressed before you just run right past that, Your Honor. You're a public
Mr.
servant.
Brooks,
Are you not a
it
public
is
servant?
9:37. Call
It is
your
8:37.
Sorry, 8:37. You're right. Call your next witness.
Your
But
Honor,
it feels like
you're rushing me to
9:37.
judgment.
There's no rush to judgment. Call your next
We
witness,
had a
please.
legal matter that needed to be addressed, and I'm merely trying to
And I'm
notify the court.
Telling
at
you
the
I'm denying the
onset-
request to address it at this moment. Call your next witness.
You said what?
I'm denying your request to address it at this moment. Please
How
call.
can, how can you deny
please
something that we're supposed to do before the
Mr.
jury
Brooks.
even comes out?
call your witness.
I'm not seeking to be disruptive. I'm just seeking to understand why we do this
Everyone
every day.
is in the courtroom waiting for you. Please call your
Your
next
Honor, we do
witness.
this every single day.
Oh, my
We've done it
God.
every single day. So I'm simply trying to make sure that the court is notified of
Put it
things
in
that need to
writing,
be
hand it to the
discussed.
bailiff, and if I deem it important enough to interrupt the witness, I will, but call your next witness.
How can I call a witness and write something down and do
You can
both?
take a minute
This
to
is the
write down what it is.
This
I'm
is
not
the
asking
reason
you
why
to,
it needed to be addressed beforehand.
Mr. Brooks,
That way
the
it
jury is
doesn't become an
remaining in
issue.
this courtroom. Call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no rush to judgment, sir.
Are you not a public servant, Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks.
Do I not have your oath of office?
Under 90611, this court has the authority, as you know.
Do I not have?
Call.
Is this not a copy, or I asked for certified copies that you said on record that you would not provide for no good reason? That these are three
Sir,
of your
you are
oaths
doing this,
right
and I've
here.
repeatedly told you, you can see the jury's here. You're doing this.
Listen,
We
Your
need
Honor,
to go
I'm
forward.
I'm not attempting to delay the proceedings. I'm not attempting
You're
to
succeeding.
be disruptive. I'm merely trying to notify Your Honor in the court for the record beforehand. That way, everyone's at least on notice of the issues that need to be taken up, instead of waiting until a break or a lunch and things of that nature, which
In
kills
my
valuable
discretion,
time.
it's my authority, it's the courtroom that
No,
I'm
it's
presiding over.
not
I'm
anymore.
not gonna
Oh!
address it at this moment.
Is this
Get
not your
serious
oath?
I'm not
now.
gonna
Did
answer
you not
questions.
Getting
swear
serious
as a public
now.
servant that you would protect the
Mr.
United
Brooks,
States Constitution?
call
Did you not do
your
that?
witness.
3 times. I have all of them. Here, your oath, Your Honor, as a public servant. And
Mr.
now you're
Brooks,
rushing me to judgment
there's no
when
rush
I'm
to
doing
judgment.
things lawfully by trying to notify you and notify the court of issues that need to be addressed
Mr. Brooks,
beforehand.
we are
These
in the
were issues-
evidentiary phase of this trial.
Your Honor, you're
Call
rushing
your
me to
next
judgment.
witness.
You're rushing me to judgment, Your Honor, and I object
I'm
to
aware
that.
of 3 witnesses
I
who are
object-
here.
I
Call
object to
one
that.
of them, please.
Your Honor, I object to that,
Your objection's noted.
and
for the
I
record.
want a legal reconsideration of your ruling. If not, I reject that ruling and take exception to that ruling.
I understand.
I request a legal or factual basis for your ruling, a written judicial finding of fact and conclusion of law for your ruling, and if not that, an interlocutory, declaratory appeal for this matter. And if
I don't know
not,
what any
these
of those
rulings
words
need to be
mean.
Stayed.
I do
Until
not know what any of those.
This matter is before a adjudicated court of competent jurisdiction.
Oh my
Because we
god.
have not proven jurisdiction in this court as of yet. Subject matter jurisdiction has not even been proven on the record, Your Honor. I don't even know the true nature and cause.
The
of
jury
charges
is in the
against me.
room.
I don't even understand that part
I
of it.
understand
I haven't
your
been
request.
provided a complaint. I haven't. Your Honor, there's so many issues.
Mr.
and
Brooks,
I'm not
we will
attempting.
take-
I'm not attempting to
Mr.
to be
Brooks,
disrespectful in any way.
we
and
need
not
to
attempting
continue.
to delay the proceedings.
Your
in any
requests
way.
are denied,
Your Honor, I
and I'm going to
respectfully
instruct the
object
jury
that.
at this point to
I
disregard
respectfully
and not
object
consider
to
They
any
cannot
of
disregard
what has
this.
just happened since you walked in. It should not be held against Mr. Brooks in any way. These are legal issues that this court may or may not need to address, but they do not bear in any way on ultimately the issues that you as jurors will have to decide. And I'm instructing you to disregard what you have just heard and seen.
Your Honor, with everything that I just said, be made part of the record.
It's on the record. I'm telling the jury that it shouldn't affect anything that they're doing in any way.
Your Honor, this is
With that,
Just telling the jury to ignore the fact that you're acting like a butthole. Telling the jury.
to rush to judgment
Mr. Brooks,
because, Your Honor, I just showed your oath that you
Your
swore
oath.
to. You swore. You
Mr.
did
Brooks,
this, Your Honor.
please call your next witness.
You took these oaths of office.
You took these
You did, Your
oaths
Honor.
of
3 of them.
offices.
I understand my
Three of
rights
them.
Very,
very
very
well.
commendable that you know, that you decided to be a public servant in these type of matters, Your Honor. I respect it to the fullest.
To
but
the
also,
fullest.
You have to uphold these oaths.
All right, I'm going to have to excuse the jury since Mr. Brooks is not calling his witness. We'll hopefully bring you back out shortly.
You have to honor these oath of offices. You have to, as a public servant, Your Honor. I respect you being a public servant. And this is not to take a shot at you in any way, but these
Really?
issues that I have,
Stop. Please
they
stop.
need to be addressed. They need to
I'm
be.
excusing the jury. Can you please stop?
Your Honor, this is a rush to judgment. This is a clear bias.
Mr. Brooks, you are to stop talking.
Are you asking me?
I'm advising you, or you will forfeit your right to be present in this
So you're holding
courtroom
me
for
in
the
contempt?
questioning of your first witness.
Because you're holding me in contempt.
I'm not holding you in contempt.
Then how can you remove me from the courtroom when I haven't given consent?
Mr. Brooks, I'm
can
advising
do that.
you at this moment to call your next witness, or you will forfeit the right to call these witnesses.
You can't take my
Under
Sixth Amendment
906.11,
right.
you are
cannot-
refusing to
you
call
cannot-
a witness.
I didn't refuse anything, Your Honor, and you can't deny me my Sixth Amendment right, which is
Mr.
to
Brooks,
call
do you want
witnesses,
to be present in
which
this
is to subpoena
courtroom
witnesses.
while you question your first witness? Because it is now 8:44, and you've consistently talked in front of the jury who's no longer in this courtroom on issues that you have been advised and are fully aware are not relevant to their determination, despite what you believe the law
didn't have anything
is.
to do with the jury,
Subject
Your Honor.
matter that is what you referenced in front of the
I
jury, and
referenced
then you
that
referenced
after I
my
had raised
oath.
the issues that I was trying
Subject
to
matter
raise.
jurisdiction, as you know, is not
As I don't
something the
know.
state has to be, the
It
state
has
must
to
prove.
be proven. It has to be. And
You are
if it doesn't,
frankly
show me lawful
confusing
law.
civil
Show me lawful
jurisdiction
law,
in
Your Honor.
federal cases with criminal court jurisdiction in the state of Wisconsin.
You don't have criminal.
That
you
has
don't
been
even
made
have.
abundantly
You don't
clear.
have subject matter jurisdiction or personal jurisdiction.
Mr. Brooks,
Or personnel jurisdiction. You don't. You haven't proven.
you have not,
haven't
I
proven
excuse
for
the
record.
jury. I'll give you the opportunity to raise whatever issue it was, but you need to do it now or we're moving forward.
That's what I want to do. That's what I
So,
was.
If she doesn't have jurisdiction, walk out the door. If she doesn't have power over you to tell you to be there, walk out the door. Oh, wait a minute. You can't walk out the door. You're tied to the table.
was attempting to do.
Oh my
and
gosh.
if you interrupt me one more time, you're going to go do it from the other courtroom.
Ooh.
Because
So
you're
you're holding
being
me in contempt?
all right. He can go to the other courtroom and we will
She's not
address
gonna
these
do it.
issues
Are
because
you holding
you
me in
are
contempt?
not being respectful, you are disruptive, you are interrupting. I will give you one more opportunity. Don't interrupt me again. Don't roll your eyes at me. Don't sigh at me.
So disrespectful.
You have delayed these proceedings now by 15 minutes because of your
Toddler.
nonstop commentary. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to you.
Oh.
What issue do you want to raise, sir?
So are you letting me make an offer of proof for my appeal?
No, because that's not what's relevant at this time, sir. If you don't need to make an offer of proof. Tell me what the issue is. You said
Okay.
you have a legal issue you want to raise before we get going. What is
All
that
right.
issue?
What is the issue?
Okay.
Okay.
The legal issue is this. Detective Casey yesterday testified for the second time under oath
Under oath.
in reference to exhibits 13 and 14 that show the backyard of my mother's home, which he stated that he had been to the home, had seen the backyard, all this stuff, when he did not, in fact, even speak with my mother. It was brought to my attention that my mother, in fact, never spoke to any law enforcement from Waukesha.
Would you like to add her to your witness list to call her?
Yes, I would.
All right, that's
because
fine.
she's
That's
willing,
all we'll
she's
address
willing
that.
to come.
But that's not something we needed to address this
It needs
right
to
away,
be addressed
sir.
because of the issue of the subpoena. That's the reason why it needed to be addressed. That's the reason why I was trying to attempt to
It
bring
could
it
have
to
been
your
done on a
attention.
All that fuss and fight and he wanted to complain about what a witness testified to.
Right. All right. So
Will I be?
you're
because I
putting
have-
you're asking me to add Don Woods to the witness list for you.
Yes, but I also have a question about the subpoena
The subpoena for whom?
for my mother. But I would also like to subpoena the phone records so it can be made part of the record of the conversation, since the prosecution listens to all the phone calls. They should be able to have heard that phone call as well. So they should be on notice of what was said.
I don't know what phone call you're referring to. If
I'm
you're
referring
referring
to
to
a
a jail
phone
phone call,
I'm referring
then
to a jail phone call that was made last night, October 20th, between 7:54 p.m. and 8:10 p.m., which I'm sure the prosecution has heard by now. And that also brings up the issue of perjury testimony.
sir, the way that you will address the issues that you're talking about are to call witnesses to challenge that or to present the evidence in support of your position. If you're telling me you need to add Dawn Woods to the witness list, I approve of that. You can fill out a subpoena and I'll direct the state to serve that upon her, and at the appropriate time we'll have her brought, we'll indicate when in the order of folks she can be brought in. So I'll grant that request.
Will I be
In
able
terms of the jail records, you'll have to subpoena the appropriate custodian or a witness who can testify to that.
That's what I was trying to gain knowledge of. 'Cause
I can't give you advice on that,
I'm
sir.
not trying to ask for advice.
Yes, you are.
Is that
That's
needed?
asking
Yes, you
me
are.
for- I can't direct how you do that. I can't tell you how to do that. You are acting as your own attorney, and you will need to figure that out. So, you have the subpoena forms. You can research the issues. You have access to legal research materials and other things, and that's how you'll have to address
I
that.
accept for value in return for value this document.
Is that a subpoena form? It is. Thank you. Is there any other witnesses you're asking to add to your, and you can also call Detective Casey if you want, just so you know.
So that make 3 times he's able to testify?
If you believe he has information that he hasn't testified to, I will give you permission to call him as well.
No, I don't think it'd be necessary. He know what he did.
Well, in any
But you have
event,
to present
He know what he
it.
didn't do.
we're gonna bring the jury back out, and then I expect you to call a witness.
And just so I'm clear, because I was trying to get to that issue, what witnesses are here? Because I don't have any paperwork for Kohler. I don't know. how to
Douglas
pronounce
Kohler, Stephen Guth, and Erica Patterson. Of those 3, I expect you to call one of those witnesses.
it. I accept for value in return for value this document.
Document.
For the record, Judge, Attorney Butchow just handed to the defendant for his benefit the police report as it relates to the statement of Douglas Kohler, since he's claiming he does not have it.
Since I know that I don't have it. So let's make that record correct.
You don't have it with you in the courtroom is what you're saying.
I can't find it anywhere.
You've had it previously.
Yes, I had it at one point.
All right. Are you ready to proceed forward, Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
All right, let's bring the jury out.
All that for that. All that. It's a matter of control.
Jen. Zach, can you help Jen? I think she.
you everyone please be seated? Mr. Brooks, just to make sure, don't block any of the microphones with anything. Both of those microphones should be on. You want to make sure that. Thank you. All right, go ahead, call your next witness.
Yeah, the defense calls Douglas J. Kohler.
All right. Good morning, sir. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up toward me, up one riser, and to my right. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you, sir. Have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Douglas Kolar, D-O-U-G-L-A-S-K-O-L-A-R.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Good morning, Mr. Is it Kolar?
Kolar.
Kolar. Good morning, Mr. Kolar. I want to direct your attention to November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening pretty well?
Fairly well, yes.
Well, let me back up for a minute. First of all, what do you do for a living?
Oh my God.
I'm an IT director for a law firm.
Been doing that for a long time?
I've been in IT for over 20 years.
Yeah, that is a long time.
Have you been a criminal for a long time?
Night of November, evening of November 21st, 2021. What did you do that day?
What did you do that day?
Well, that day, I was preparing my daughter to march in the parade with her dance troupe.
God.
You know, watched football earlier in the day and got her dressed, and we had to change our plans last minute because my son was not feeling well. So it was just my daughter and I that went to the parade.
And do you recall what time you arrived at the parade?
It was at least an hour before the start time of the parade.
And do you recall where you were positioned at
Positioned
in the parade?
in the parade.
I moved with the dance troupe, so I
Kind of going with the flow.
correct.
And at some point you observed something happening. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
Well, after my daughter had finished and I was walking back to our vehicle to go home, I noticed as we were approaching White Rock, which is what we were parked off of, I noticed a vehicle coming through where the parade participants were going. It was a red vehicle. It was honking its horn. It passed a few parade entries on the right-hand side, and then it passed between two of the groups. It veered to the left and went around the next group on the left-hand side, at which point a police officer attempted to approach the vehicle. That police officer had reached for the door handle, and at the time of that approach, the vehicle started to speed off.
I just want to back up just a little bit. stated that you heard the vehicle honking its horn.
While it was on White Rock Avenue, it was honking its horn.
In your opinion, did the vehicle appear to try to avoid hitting people?
At that point, yes.
And you made reference to it coming in, the vehicle coming in contact with an officer. Did you see where the vehicle went after that interaction with the officer?
There was no contact between the officer and the vehicle. The vehicle attempted to make contact. The officer attempted to make contact. But after that attempt, the vehicle sped southward. You know, I know those streets don't run straight north-south on Main Street.
Did you notice the vehicle strike anyone at that time?
I did not.
And what did you do after you saw the vehicle? Once it was out of your view.
Once it was out of my view, I grabbed my daughter and walked as fast as I could to my car.
And to the best of your recollection, how would you describe the vehicle as far as make and model? To the best of your recollection.
To the best of my recollection today, I only remember a red SUV.
At some point, did you report to law enforcement officers what you had observed that evening?
On the Tuesday morning following the parade, I sent an initial statement to the police.
Would that have been the WAUKESHA Police Department?
Yes, it was to the WAUKESHA Police Department.
Did you said you sent a statement. Did you initially speak with anyone verbally?
Initially, no, I did not.
At some point, did you speak with someone verbally?
Yes.
And was that sometime after the Tuesday statement that you initially gave?
Yes. Approximately 2 weeks after I made my statement, I was contacted by someone with the WAUKESHA police.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I believe the rear windows were tinted like most SUVs are.
And after you had verbally speaking with law enforcement, did you do any follow-up on the reports after that?
Yes. The officer that I spoke to had advised me to add to my statement the items that we had talked about.
The law enforcement officer asked you to add certain things to your report?
He had asked me some questions, and the questions that we talked about on the phone, he asked me to add to what I had initially submitted.
And after that conversation, did you have any further conversations after that point?
I had no further conversation after that point.
Had you yourself been contacted by any further law enforcement after that point?
No.
So it'd be fair to say that you were.
Does anybody else think he missed an opportunity there to say that somebody told him to add something to the statement? Not that it isn't totally appropriate that somebody is going to talk about it and draw out some information that they may not have thought was a detail that was important, or a detail they missed, or a detail they put out of time, and then you would add or amend the statement. But he glosses over that, and he could actually hone in on it. Daryl picks a thread and he doesn't pull it through.
Were subpoenaed to testify at some point.
Ugh.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall when you received that subpoena?
I received my subpoena last Tuesday.
18th?
Whatever day last Tuesday was.
Do you recall whom you received that subpoena from?
You!
The Waukesha County Sheriff. Or
Do you
one
recall-
of the sheriffs.
I'm sorry. I didn't-
Or one of the sheriffs.
Oh, God, you horse's patoot.
And did you do any follow-up information once you received the subpoena? Like, for example, sorry. For example, calling the district attorney's office?
Why?
I did not call the district attorney's office. I did reach out to the clerk's office to see if there was any further information.
Because it didn't come from the district attorney. It came from you, you dip thing. So dumb.
Were you or your daughter injured in any way during this incident?
No, we were not.
No further questions at this time.
Because he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, even his soft-sit rhetoric that he does, I'm the third-party intervener, blah, 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 that all has some kind of flow through. Somebody obviously sat down and wrote that script out. When it's left up to Dippy Goblin here, he has no, like, he's all over the map, picks at a thread, but doesn't pull. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kohler.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. To be clear, sir, the subpoena you received was issued on behalf of the defendant, Daryl Brooks, correct?
I don't know. That information was not filled out on the subpoena.
You did provide a typed
Woo.
statement to the Waukesha Police Department, correct?
Objection, Lee.
And
They can lead.
Let me rule on it first before you answer. Overruled. Go ahead. And his answer, I believe he answered it, but if not, did you answer it?
I'll ask again.
Thank you.
You did provide a written statement to the police department, correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. It's cross 90611 sub 2.
Yes, I provided a written statement.
And in that statement, you described the SUV as driving erratically down White Rock Avenue, correct?
Objection. Didn't testify to that. That was asked and answered.
Overruled, the witness may answer, and it's sub 3, not sub 2, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes, just the event of driving past some participants on the right and then veering to pass the next group on the left.
Okay. You said at that point, when the vehicle was on White Rock, it was honking its horn, correct?
Correct?
There was no objection. You can answer.
And you saw an officer run up and try and open the door to the vehicle, correct?
I don't know that he was trying to open the door, just trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do. He ran and his arm had gone towards the door handle.
Okay. And that was at the intersection of White Rock and Main Street, correct, sir?
Yes.
And you got a look at the driver of the car, correct, sir?
Objection. Speculative.
Speculative.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Not speculative now.
Yes, I did.
Now it's the
And
answer
you
to the
described the driver in your written statement as a black male with dark dreadlocks and visible tattoos. Is that correct, sir?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Yes.
Is that consistent with your memory, sir?
Objection. Speculative.
Overruled.
memories aren't
That is consistent
speculative.
with my memory today.
Once the vehicle went past the officer, you indicated that you saw it accelerate or speed off. Is that correct, sir?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled, 906-11 sub 3.
Yes, at that point, it sped away.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect?
Briefly.
Go ahead.
Referring to the written statement that was just testified to the best of your recollection, do you recall stating that the SUV was a older model red Chevy Blazer?
I do recall putting that down at the time, but that was at that addition that I added 2 weeks later.
So at that time, during the evening of the incident, to the best of your knowledge, that would have been your opinion of the vehicle that you saw?
At the time of that, the day of the parade, I just remembered the red SUV.
To the best of your recollection, what assumption would lead you to describe the vehicle as a Chevy Blazer?
I believe in my assumption, it was just to say it was a older, boxy style SUV, and in my mind, that relates closely to a Chevy Blazer.
All cars these days are similar. All brands are similar. It's kind of like buying spaghetti sauce at the grocery store. Most of them are red. Most of them are in glass jars. Most of them have a label on them. Most of them have the same colors on the label, colors that make you want to eat things like yellow and blue and red, green, because, part of the Italian flag, whatever it is. But same thing with cars. We gravitate towards certain styles over decades, and they get rounder or boxier, and the headlights change and the taillights change, and all these things change over time to go with styles. The brand of SUV could be very similar, and he's just whatever.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Doesn't make it not true.
And you also are excused. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That he's
You
really.
may call your next witness.
One second.
Sicky.
If I may have just a
Oh,
quick
yes.
second.
No, it's never quick.
The defense will call Stephen Guth.
I believe one of my assistants went to retrieve Detective Guth, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Now would be a good time to organize those questions. But he's not doing that. Guaranteed.
Right, good morning, Detective Guth, as you are, come to the witness stand, remain standing, raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a seat. Please state your first and last name for the record, or names, I should say.
Stephen Guth, Stevenguth.
Go ahead, sir. You're witness.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Over 20 years.
And how long have you been a detective?
Just over 7 years.
Directing your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening?
I do.
And were you on duty that evening?
Not initially.
For more clarification, what do you mean by not initially?
It was a regular off day for me, but I received notification to respond to the police department for the mass
All
casualty
call, yeah.
incident in the downtown area of WAUKESHA.
So at that point, I'm assuming you were dispatched to that location?
I was not dispatched. I received a Signal message. We use Signal. It's an app that's used that we can share information for investigations. And I received a Signal message that this tragedy just happened.
Okay, so he, much like the completely obvious way he knows nothing about firearms because he asks about shell casings being inside of the vehicle where the bullet would be, never mind. But he's trying to explain the difference between dispatch and order to go and all calls and summons and signals. And these are all kind of words that are used in the police or first responding industry. Okay, so the bridge fell down a couple weeks ago. There was an all call. So every first responder that is associated with a medical director got called for an all call. If you're available and you can get to your station, you go to your station, and you would either fall in, mostly the city and I think part of the county, obviously Coast Guard and state police, they were all there on scene. But that doesn't mean that other people are not required to backfill. I mean, the people who were on scene, they got relieved by other shifts, I'm sure. So, which means that they were there for hours. They were staged there for hours in case there was a recovery, so that the people who were recovered could take the person to the hospital. I guess you would call it rescue, not recovery, sorry. But those stations then have to be backfilled. So what happens is they will backfill with close stations, and those stations then will backfill, and those stations then will backfill until everybody is covered. Now, not everybody is backfilled on a one-to-one. In other words, if there's 3 ambulances that are stationed at the event, maybe one of those stations will recover or get backfilled, or maybe 2 of them, but not all 3, because the people backfilling still have to cover their areas. So it's all spread out, and there's a whole thing. But those are signals. To be dispatched means that you're on duty. I'm on duty, and an authority is dispatching me. That's what that means. That is the difference. There you go.
And so what did you do from that point?
I immediately dropped my wife and kids off and responded to the parade.
And when you got to the parade, what did you do at that point?
I went to the downtown area to assess and see what I could help with.
At some point during your investigation, did you make contact with the woman by the name of Erica Patterson?
Yes.
And what was the nature of that part of your investigation?
I wanted to speak with Erica Patterson because by that point, when I made contact with our command center, they had learned the name of Daryl Brooks and had learned that Erica Patterson was the estranged girlfriend of the suspect of this investigation.
You made reference to estranged girlfriend. What do you mean?
I don't know if I should answer that.
What do you mean, estranged? What do you mean, estranged girlfriend? What do you mean? I gotta skip back to the estranged girlfriend.
I think the question was pertaining to the word estranged, but we'll move on.
But we'll move on.
The jury will disregard that last question, that it's been withdrawn. And the statement made by Detective Guth following that.
I'm assuming at some point you took a statement from Ms. Patterson?
I did.
Do you recall if it was recorded, written, you writing it? What was the nature of how the report was taken?
Well, her words were spoken and they were recorded, and then I prepared a report.
Did you prepare the report that same evening?
No.
When did you prepare the report?
Sometime after the 22nd of November.
Why not the same evening?
Because after I spoke with her, I wanted to go back and speak with her again.
Did you obtain any statements from any other people that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
I did not.
Do you know, to your recollection, if any other officers have taken statements from parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the night of November 21st, 2021, I did have a partner with me, another detective.
Do you recall him talking to any other parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the detective that was with me was a female, Detective Barron.
The question was, do you know if your partner had any interactions with parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
I don't believe so.
Hold on,
but
are
I
you
can't-
specifically referring to a date certain or just in general?
I think it was clear.
I
The
need
date
it
would
clear.
be-
I think it was
for the
clear.
The date would be
On the
November
21st?
21st
Okay,
of 2021.
thank you with that clarification.
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, he is
Did
mad.
you learn at any point that there may have been other parties involved with Ms. Patterson?
In which incident?
I'm referring again to November 21st of 2021.
Yes.
Do you recall who those parties were?
Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby.
Did you yourself speak with either of those parties, Nicholas Kirby or Corey Runkle?
No, I did not.
Do you recall if your partner spoke with any of those parties?
Which partner?
I'm guessing the female partner that you made reference to.
No, she did not.
And in that recorded interview with Ms. Patterson, what did you learn about the evening of November 21st, 2021?
Which recording?
Are there multiple recordings?
Yes.
What did you learn?
Is anybody here surprised that there would be more than one interview with the principal people involved? Okay, thank you.
About the evening of November 21st, 2021 from both recordings with Ms. Patterson?
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point, as this testimony covers ground that was very clearly covered during the state's case in chief.
She's
I'll give
gonna give
Mr.
him
Brooks some
leeway.
leeway. You are asking for hearsay, though, you understand that.
I asked him, what did he learn?
Fair enough. Go ahead, you may answer.
I learned several things. Initially, I think is what you were getting at. Ms. Brooks wanted to report that
Miss
she was
Patterson.
injured by Daryl Brooks on November 20th, which would have been Saturday. She stated that she met with Mr. Brooks at Frame Park, and they were arguing over the fact that she did not give him money, and he injured her by slapping her in the mouth and punching her in the eye. The next day, I went back and talked to her again, and she clarified that that actually did not happen on the 20th. It happened on the 21st, and that she got in a motor vehicle with him over the same argument. He was mad that she did not provide him with money. He proceeded to try to take her phone because he thought she was talking to other guys.
Ooh.
Slapped her in the mouth, punched her in the eye. She jumped out of the motor vehicle because she feared for her safety and made her way back towards Frame Park. While walking back towards Frame Park, she was calling her friends, Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby, to come help her. When she arrived back near Frame Park in front of White Rock School, there was a confrontation in front of White Rock School with Mr. Brooks, Erica Patterson, Corey Runkle, and Nicholas Kirby, where there was some kind of shoving match. And that's when Mr. Brooks got back into the motor vehicle and took off.
He's
down
messing up
White
the
Rock
names and
towards
stuff.
Main Street. Erica Patterson then made her way back towards the Women's Center.
Made reference to being told about an incident from Saturday, November 20th. And then stating that in the second interview, Ms. Patterson stated that didn't happen. Is that correct?
She didn't state that it didn't happen. She just stated that she didn't drive around with him on Saturday, November 20th. But she also met with him and was slapped in the mouth that day too.
If it pleases the court, I have a document here I would like to show the witness.
All right, if the bailiff could hand it to the state first to look at it. We may use the document camera if that's hooked up. Otherwise, the bailiff can take it to the witness.
Before we go through that process, I'm going to object. Maybe
Let
we
me
should
see the
cut it off.
document.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move forward too much more, and I'm not going to try not to verbally belabor this, as we get into some of these domestic things, which I so seriously hesitate to call this domestic, because let's review. He groomed her from the age of 15. He was 26. That may not be a huge spread in age, but when you're that young, it's a gigantic spread in age. It is the difference between somebody who has graduated from high school, or at least old enough to, has had adult things afforded them, like the right to drive, she wasn't even allowed to drive at 15, the right to vote, the right to buy alcohol, all of these things. You grow into that. At 26, your brain is fully functioning. Now, obviously, he's damaged beyond I don't know what, but so his age of 26 and her age of 15 are light years in that time. I mean, decades later, that may not be the course, and a 10-year spread is not so much, even a 20-year spread for some couples. But at that age, it is. So he didn't, it wasn't domestic, it was grooming. He groomed her and trapped her and isolated her and did all the abusive, narcissistic things. Domestic violence victims, DVVs, it's not linear to get out of this. I know this because of my first responder history, but I also know it from personal history. You need a support group to help you. A church, friends, family, finances, and sometimes law enforcement. I don't think they're as helpful as they think they are. But all of this whole network that you create for yourself is how you get out of it. And she did not have strong networks throughout those years. And that's why people go back. It's not linear. It's not because they like it. It's because they don't have the webbed network that it takes to get out of the isolation, both mentally, physically, and financially, that you are entrapped in by these perpetrators. So her reporting is fragmented. The police know that, and they know they're going to have to get pieces of it. The recanting is fragmented. That is why she's at the shelter, to learn and be counseled and build a network. If she doesn't have a strong family one, then maybe she can build a stronger friend one. Whatever it is, all of these things are sprinkled and spread and come in webbed in different ways for everyone. So, you know, he's trying to parse out and continue to say these things didn't happen, because in his abusive cyclical head, he can say, well, if there was no injury and if there's no police report, it didn't happen. Well, it did happen. It still happened. It was you still doing the violence. It was you still doing the cycle. So that's all I think I'm going to harp on right. Thank you. Soapbox over. Oops.
To get back to Mr. Brooks, given the content of that document, I'll sustain the objection, or what that document is, I should say.
Sustain on what grounds?
It's not relevant.
Whoa.
Yep. To this witness's testimony.
How is it not relevant?
It's not relevant.
You made reference to November 20th. That's
So?
what this document is talking about.
It's not relevant to the charges at issue. We can take it up later, and if need be, I'll let you recall the witness, but I'm directing you to move on to a new topic.
Your Honor, I'm going to respectfully object to that and ask for a finding of fact.
The objection's noted, it's sustained. Well, their objection's sustained, yours is overruled. Please continue.
Is that noted for the record? I would like a written finding of fact.
The request is denied. Keep going, please.
Denied on what grounds, on what lawful law?
Keep going, sir. It's not relevant.
Are you making a district determination that you don't have to answer that question as
Yeah.
a public servant?
Sir, I've ruled on the objection. It's on the record. Please keep going.
Once again, information that needs to be known is being hidden.
It's not relevant, sir. Please
It's
continue.
very relevant. He just opened the door on that by saying November 20th.
Objection. Move to strike all of the comments made by Mr. Brooks in the last 20 seconds or so, especially with regard to any implication that he hasn't had all of the discovery material.
Objection, I never made any
Prior to
mention
trial.
of not having any discovery material. That never
The
was
jury will
stated.
just disregard, as I've told the jury repeatedly, comments made or statements made by the parties, whether they be lawyers or the parties themselves, are not evidence, and you're to disregard them and not consider them in any way. And if the statement suggested facts that are not in evidence, you should not consider that in any way either. All right, go ahead. Your next question, please.
So is it fair to say that in your report you referenced 2 incident reports?
Objection. This
Grounds.
witness wrote.
I'm going to overrule
Fine.
the objection and let the witness answer it. I think it might just be semantics at this point, but go ahead and ask your
You
question.
need semantics.
I think you were referring to that he had 2.
That's what his report says. He makes reference to 2 reports, 2 incidents.
2 incidents.
Yes.
Not 2 incident reports. Reports would be separate documents. That's what I'm talking about. With that understanding, that you're referring to, and I think you're referring to incidents with Ms. Patterson, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead, ask your question. I think that clarifies, so that the witness can answer.
In your, let me back up. You wrote your own report, would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And in your report, you referred to 2 incidents. Would that be fair to say?
Just to clarify, which report are you speaking about? I wrote several reports.
The one written November 22nd of 2021.
I do reference 2 reports and 1 CAD call.
What was the last part? Cat call?
A CAD call, yes.
What do you mean cab call?
Not CAD.
CAD.
C-A-D.
He uses a
Cat.
lot.
What do you mean
He uses a lot of jargon. Computer-aided dispatch is a CAD. Whether it was dispatch or all call or a signal call or whatever it is, he uses a lot of jargon, and this is mixing up Daryl, and quite frankly, it probably could mix everybody up.
What?
That's a call for service. That does not generate a police report.
And what was that CAD call?
That was a call for service near Frame Park for a fight involving potentially a domestic related incident.
Do you recall any other details about that CAD call?
There wasn't much in it because the officer had to leave to go to the parade.
Do you recall mention of a knife during that CAD call?
Yes.
To the best of your recollection, do you recall anyone recovering a knife or you yourself recovering a knife?
There was no knife involved in that incident through my investigation of the report that you have.
But it is fair to say that that's how the CAD call went out, that there was potentially a knife fight.
That's how it was initially, I believe, reported or communicated through dispatch to the officers that responded.
You made reference, and I'm referring to the second interview with Ms. Patterson. You made reference in your report that in the previous interview that Ms. Patterson was not completely forthright. What exactly do you mean by not completely forthright?
She did not give me all the details of the incidents to me initially.
Do you recall why?
How much money is in your bank account?
I don't know why she didn't.
So it'd be fair to say that Ms. Patterson had been untruthful with you in the first interview.
No, she told me she was extremely afraid of you. And that's why she didn't want to tell me everything.
Well, you just stated that you didn't know why she was not forthright.
I can't read her mind, but that's what she told me.
At any time during your investigation in regards to the incidents with Ms. Patterson, did you at any time see interviews that were conducted with Nicholas Kirby and Corey Runkle?
What do you mean by see them?
Had you seen any statements made by those two parties?
No.
Would it be fair to say, assuming that those two parties were present for the incident on the evening of November 21st of 2021, would it be fair to say that at some point they were interviewed by law enforcement officers, to your recollection?
Yes.
And you've never seen any of those interviews?
They weren't video recorded.
Had you seen any written statements from them or report from law enforcement?
I received a summary of what they stated verbally from another detective, yes.
So it'd be fair to say you did have knowledge of what they said transpired on November 21st of 2021.
I had knowledge of what they said. I didn't see anything. Correct.
And to the best of your recollection, seeing what those two parties had said, what do you recall?
Objections.
Grounds.
Evidence, you didn't see what they said, and also calls for hearsay.
Sustain.
What did you read
Objection.
from those
That would be hearsay.
statements
Right.
given by those two parties?
Objection. Calls for hearsay.
Grounds.
Sustain.
Grounds for the sustain.
Calls for hearsay.
He doesn't even look up. If
One second. Do you recall what officer took those statements from Nicholas Kirby and Corey Runkle in relation to the incident on November 21st of 2021?
Yes. Yes.
And what law enforcement officer was that?
Detective Van Els.
Does this have any relevance?
And after that report that you wrote on November 22nd of 2021, was that the end of your investigation into the incident of November 21st of 2021?
No.
And what was the extent of your investigation after November 22nd of 2021?
Judge, I'm gonna object. Well, on the defendant's behalf, I believe here, based on some previous rulings the court has made.
Sustained.
In other words, this is painful.
And did you speak with Ms. Patterson again after filing your report?
Yes.
In reference to the incident from November 21st of 2021?
I don't understand your question.
Did you speak with Ms. Patterson after you filed your report in relation to the incident from November 21st of 2021?
No.
In relation to the alleged incident on November 20th of 2021,
Did you just ask about the 20th?
do you know if that alleged incident ever took place?
Objection.
Grounds.
Calls for hearsay, lack of personal knowledge.
Well, you reported it.
This
So,
also goes to one of the ultimate issues that the jury will need to determine, so it's sustained.
No questions, no further questions right now at this time.
All right, thank you. Any cross?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir.
meaning you did not, no zingers, no zingers. You didn't, what were any of those questions? What was this? I'm tired. It's been, oh my God, it's been that long. Ugh. Like, subscribe, dislike, comment, share, whatever it is. Oh my God, this was painful. I would be surprised if anybody met it to this level. If anybody got here, I would be shocked. I'm not sure I got here. Bye.